Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next. Hold on, sorry, I got to echo. Nobody move. Nobody move. There's a little button there, a little echo button. Take two. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next episode of True Dungeon Talk with Trent. In this episode, we are going to be talking about transmuting 2021 True Dungeon tokens. Oh man, this is a great time of the token year for me. I'm always very excited for this moment because I get to add more tokens to my collection. Throughout the years, I am, always looking for those of you who don't. Oh, by the way, I should introduce myself. I've got to get better at this part. Hi, I am Trent. Huge fan of True Dungeon and Trent of Trent Tokens. It's a website where I sell my extra tokens. And hello, let's see. Oh, I see a few people here in chat. Hello, Myron, Corey, roll call. Yes, roll call. Corey, hello, John, David, Dave. I call him Dave, and then my buddy David. Looks like I still made it on time. Thank you, David. I appreciate that. And hello to everyone who's listening. So yes, I'm Trent with Trent Tokens, and my buddy David and Mark is helping us out as well with TrueDungeonTokens.com. That's another website that we're working on. And for all the fans of True Dungeon, thank you very much for joining. And for the let's see, David is sending a text message. Usually it's making sure everything is okay. Audio's a little off. Oh, there's my wife. Hello. Let's see, Mongo. I didn't see the chat. So what's going on with the audio? When you say it's off, maybe it's okay now. Let me know in chat if it's just me. Is the audio off by a second? I don't know. Hello. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Hello. So Corey says it's okay. All right, so hopefully it was just the interwebs. Speaking of the interwebs, this episode of True Dungeon Talk with Trent has been brought to you by Trent Tokens. This is water. Okay, hold on. Let's see. David is texting me again. Audio and video off by a second. Must be my side. I will exit and return. Okay, Myron. Split second off. David says it is too. Huh, crap. I don't know, guys. I'm not sure what that is. Give us a hand clap. Yeah, I'm looking at my feed too. It is a second or so. It is a half a second off on my my screen here too. Okay. Well, not sure. I didn't do anything to the settings. Still off, but we'll live. Yes. Okay. So let's just continue with it being a hair off. I apologize for that, and maybe we'll figure out what that problem is. But let's get into this episode. So today's episode, as I mentioned, Bill. Damn it. So Bill says we're off too. I don't know what to do. Yeah, sorry to all the people who think this is a hair off. Maybe I'll close my mouth. Is this better? Because then you won't know. Then you won't know I'm a little off. So yeah, sorry about that. So let's hopefully not. We won't be looking at my face too much. So yes, let's dive into the episode of Transmuting 2021 tokens. Now, for those people who aren't familiar with the transmuting program or the exchange program, think of it like if you've played MMORPGs before, it's kind of like that. That's how I think about it. It's when you start out in those games, you usually have a stick, or a small dagger or something like that, and you go out and kill a couple of scary wolves that are attacking the town, and now you take the wolf pelts and then you can turn it into armor, and on and on and on until you're level 50 or 75 or 100 in whatever the game is. So that's the way I think of the just the transmuting program itself in True Dungeon. So in this episode, we're going to cover the tokens that you can make in 2021. So let me show you first. Let's go to the website here. It's like mailing tokens and a delay happens. Okay, I'm going to move this down. Let's do a little picture-in-picture, because then you'll just see a small little bit of me. Now, you can go to a website like tokendb.com. You can also go to truedungeontokens.com. And of course, you can come to truedungeon.com. And under tokens here, this page here, you can see the current collection. This is the TokenDB. This is a guide. There's a worksheet, an Excel spreadsheet as well. And then, of course, there's the page to do the exchange program. So this is one way to get to the exchange spot. Another way is to go to the store icon, or the store tab here. And this is where you can purchase things. And the token exchange program is here. But what I'd like to do first is go to the token collection page. And this takes us back to where we just were. And at the bottom here, I'm going to scroll through all of these. Those are the, this for instance is the exchange tokens. These are the ones we're going to make here. And at the very bottom of this page, you can see the actual picture here. All right, so these are the ones that we're going to make. The Sacred Necklace, which is a relic, and this is for the cleric this year, and you can tell this is 2021 because of these little symbols here on either side. From 2007 on, the tokens got different symbols on either side here. From 2006 and prior to that, they were all wooden tokens, and the symbols were on the back. Once you make a Sacred Necklace for the cleric, this is a relic, as I mentioned, you can then use this to turn it into the legendary. So it's kind of a vicious cycle. As soon as you make one, you want to make the next one, the next one. So that is for the clerics this year. And then for the fighters, we have the Amulet of Noble Might. And once you make this, you can turn that into the legendary. And then for the wizards, you've got the Mage Medallion. And once you have that, you can turn it into the legendary here for the wizards. And then over here, we have the enhanced, the exalted tokens. And, oh, there's one more relic, the Ironstone Elfstone Shard, plus 10 to max HP. That'd be great for a party. And then, of course, the Eldritch here, the Skull of Kavadar. And we'll talk about that in a quick second here. So let me go to here, and I'll pull this up. And let me check the chat here. Okay, so speaking of chat, if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask in chat. And if I don't know the answer, someone in chat will know the answer, or will find the answer, and then, you know, make sure you guys get whatever the answer that is. And you can, of course, email me at trent@trenttokens.com if I'm unable to answer the question now, or if you have any questions, you know, going forward. So Bill says, always try and make the first star you can. Always come back to the orange later. Yep, that's right. And speaking of making tokens, you know what? There's one more thing I wanted to show you here. Let me go back to the computer. Give me 1 second. Okay, so I actually wanted to, for the people who've never done this before, I want to go through how this works, you know, on the computer, and then I'll show you, you know, with the tokens in my hands. Okay, so let's say we know that we want to make a token, and this is your first time. A great first token to make. Each year they have a fairly simple token to make. I mean, relative to, you know, the relics and the legendaries. And on this page that I'm scrolling through here, you'll see a bunch of different options. And at the bottom are the legendary options. So these take quite a while. I remember my first one took a year. So this is something to strive for if you want to get that token. But the relics that are right before this are normally quite powerful as well. So the legendaries, I only say make the legendaries if you have the parts and you really want that token. I would hate for someone to either buy this or make it and then not be happy with their purchase or making it. So just make sure you really want this before you make it. But there are a lot of lower level tokens, entry level if you will, for newer players just getting into transmuting. And the 2021 version is called the Tankard of Celebration. And that's this token here. And to make this token, it's fairly simple. You need a 50 GP Traveler's Cup, which is a common token for this year, and then 300 GP. And I'll show you how to do that in a moment. So first, this token's pretty cool. This is the first token that I can think of that has this kind of interaction with your fellow party members and the Dungeon Master as well. So the Tankard of Celebration, it's slotless, which means that you can add it to your build and it doesn't take up a slot. So you can have right now unlimited number of slotless items. In theory, it's much like the games. If you think about it, in your backpack you've just got a zillion items, so how in the world can you carry all these things? But as long as you can carry it into the dungeon with you and it's part of your build, you can use it. But I will say that, of course I have all of the slotless tokens and I put them in my build every time, but I don't remember them. There's just so many situational things, but it is fun to have them. But I think this is one, if you and your fellow party members have this, I think it's going to be hard to forget to use this one. But let me continue to read what it says here. Heal 10 HP when party initiative is a natural 20, but must say hoo-ha to activate. So yes, that's exactly what that means. So when the party rolls a 20, you as the player and your fellow party members, if they have this tankard equipped, must say hoo-ha, and then you heal 10 hit points. I actually was in a party recently and we had already made these, and we didn't heal on purpose into the next room because we wanted to hope and hit 20 so we could say this, but we didn't. So, and then one time we were all healed up and it happened and we said hoo-ha, but we didn't heal because we had already done it. But let's continue to how to order this, how to make this. So first you choose which one of these tokens you want to make, then you add them all to your cart, and then we go forward. Let me check the chat real quick to make sure the world's not ending. Explain the 3-point enhanced, 4-point exalted. Sure. All right, no problem, John. I'll do that. 1 second. Well, first I can do that on this token right here. If you look at the points, it says 1, 2, 3. So this is a 3-point token. And then I'll explain what that is with the other tokens in a second. So first we want to add this to our cart. Okay, we get this little pop-up here. And then you add all the other tokens that you want to make. And then we go to checkout. Now this pop-up here basically says that you have got to make sure that the recipe is exactly the way it's supposed to be. You can't send in 25 of one token that's supposed to be turned into some other token that is then used in this recipe. You've got to do 2 mailings in order to do that. And it just keeps everything simple for everyone. And also down here it says, don't cheat. Don't send in a fake token. That's not good. You'll be in big trouble. Okay, so we go to checkout. All right, so this is my actual login here. I'm 8th level, and it costs nothing to do the transmute except the mailing cost, your time and energy, etc. So at this point, you would want to check and make sure that everything is the right number and the right tokens, and then check your address. And I don't care that you can see my address on the video here because you can see it on my website. It's on my newsletters. It's totally fine. Then you hit next, And this is where you could include a note if necessary. This section here you can ignore. This is only when you're purchasing sets of tokens, and the PayPal/credit card is the only option. If you've never done PayPal before, it's okay. You can use a credit card, and if you haven't done PayPal before, I would suggest it. It's great. You can keep a running total of money that you can exchange and trade with other people, etc. And you must accept the terms and conditions. I'd recommend reading this at least once. And then you hit next. And this is your final check, final time to check your order to make sure it's good to go. And at this point, you'll hit finish, and then the PayPal connection will happen. I won't do that here, but that part's pretty simple to figure out. That's not what this video is about. But what is important, I'm going to go ahead and cancel this, and I'll show you why in a quick second. So I've already done this order. So I'm going to go to my account, hit order history. It's the top one here. All right, so let's pretend like I just walked through and did the PayPal part, and then something else needs to happen next. You'll get an email, and in the email you can read, obviously, and there's a link. The link will bring you back to here, or you can come straight to this spot here after you do your order. This is a very important part. Okay, once you have this order placed, final time to check, make sure everything's okay. This link. So we want to click this link to view and print your transmute order form. However your computer is set up, you'll want to print this document. And this document will have a shipping label. That's the first page. A couple instructions here. They recommend the USPS flat rate boxes, and I would as well. That's what I use, and they're free. You can go to USPS.com and get them ordered for free. This part is super duper important. It's the order form that you must include in your shipment. This, if you have a bunch of tokens, this will be a bunch of different rows. This is where you should check this off. So either X here or check here that you have verified that this is what's inside your order. And this piece of paper is coming back to you. When True Dungeon does the transmute, they will verify and check off this page here as well, and then include it back in your order. So you will send them typically a bigger box of tokens, and then you'll get back a smaller box with all the transmuted tokens. And you're also going to want to sign and date this. And then this page, again, if there's a bunch of tokens, you'll see a bunch of different sections here. You can use this page to kind of make sure that you included all the correct tokens. So this will be like the recipes for whatever it is that you have purchased. That's a blank page. And then finally, again, this will be a bunch of different labels. These are the labels that you use to cut up to put into the bag, and I'll show you that in a second. Okay, let me pull up the chat. Okay, the off to play paper and pencil DVD, a good primer chat. Thank you, Bill. Have fun. All right, so now what I have done is I have printed that document that we just talked about. Did your side go down? My site, as in Trent tokens? I hope not, John. And let's see if there's any problems with anybody else. Let me know. Okay, so this is the shipping label. You can chop this up and use this to mail. This is the one that you're, as I said, you want to sign and date this. And then this, again, if there's a bunch of them here, you can use this to check off what you are doing. And then we need this label. So here we go. Let's chop this label up. And of course, I'm making it perfect because, you know, I always draw within the lines and all that, right? Maybe not. Okay. Oops, that's pretty bad. Here we go. All right. Now, don't need this. Don't worry, I will put that in recycling. Okay, so now we have the Tankard of Celebration. Now we have this paper here, or the website that we were just looking at, that will remind us about the recipe. So we need to make the Tankard of Celebration 50 GP Traveler's Cup. All right, and that is right here. Here is this token here. Let's see if it can, there we go. So this is the 2021 common token. And it says water poured into cup turns into beer, 1 per game. So this is a multifunction token. Okay, 2021 on the back. Besides being worth 50 GP for trading purposes, or since it's got this little link down here, transmuting purposes, this transmute we're talking about right now, in the dungeon, if you have some type of moment or role play time where you need beer and you have water and you've got this, boom, there you go. And sometimes you might need to bribe somebody or offer something. So you could be offering a magical cup to someone, or say, here, this is worth 50 gold, or here's beer. Or you might need to trick someone and say, I have magical powers, watch what I do with water. It's up to you and your imagination and the dungeon master's decision. So that's a pretty cool token. So that's the first thing we need for this token. And we also need 300 GP. Now, GP goes all the way back to 2003. So it doesn't really matter how you come up with 300 GP, gold pieces, GP, gold. Unless the recipe specifically requires a 1,000 GP bar or 5,000 GP bar or 25,000 GP bar, you can create the gold however you want. But with 20, pardon the noise there, someone's motorcycle maybe? The 2021 set, the uncommon tokens, they have, there are 2 different uncommon gold tokens. The 150 GP treasure pouch. Hey John at True Dungeon. Goblins like beer. Good. Well, we will see what we can do in the dungeon. So there's the 150 GP treasure pouch, and there's the 100 GP treasure purse. So we need 300. So obviously we could take 2 of those, and that would be 300, or 3 of these. It's up to you how you want to do that, or the previous year, or a bunch of different years. There's all kinds of ways to come up with GP. The more modern or more recent years are in increments like this, but some of the older tokens, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11-ish, right around there, you'll see a 20 GP, a 30, a 15, a 10, a 5. So it can get a little nuts, but this is pretty convenient for the 2021 year. Okay. John says it's okay now. Great. All right, so I'll just do these tokens. Keep it simple. So the next step you want to do is, after you have verified the what you want, is to put everything into a Ziploc bag. I remember when I first started, I thought this was weird, that you put everything in a Ziploc bag. I thought, why in the world does everything go into a Ziploc bag? But you get it after a while, because there's a lot of tokens that you're going to be mailing, that are coming back, etc. It's just a great way to stack the tokens inside the bag. Like this might look a little silly, but you can put in 25 tokens into a Ziploc bag. By the way, the snack size version, pretty easily. All right, so that is that, and let's just pretend that this is all that we were making. And we don't need this. So the next thing that I would do, sorry, putting everything back, is I would, if for those of you who have purchased from me, you've seen this happen before. I usually use a dice bag, but for this example, this is what I would probably do if I was just mailing this. It may seem a little excessive, but you know, I've been called worse. But with the Ziploc bag, I think it's good because it's somewhat, you know, protected from water. And here is the very, very cool thing. So this is a small flat rate box. When you do orders from True Dungeon, you'll actually, you know, receive some of these, and oftentimes you can recycle them. And that's actually what this is. This box was used in one of my orders that came to me, and then I recycled them. I use them again. But again, you can go to USPS.com and get these for free. And they are just a great way to mail tokens nice and securely. And there you go. So close that up, put the label that that I showed you earlier, and that's that. Pretty simple. Go to the post office. Now it costs a little extra to send something like this, but you automatically get insurance. It's automatically going to get a tracking number, and I mean it's really secure this way. So this is how I would recommend personally sending these boxes. Now, let's say you're mailing a bunch of tokens, which, as you can imagine, someone like myself, and perhaps if you're not there yet, one day you might get there if you want to. Another very cool thing is 6 of these fit perfectly in a medium flat rate box. I mean, they just line up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That closes up, and now you have extra protection. Drugar on the forums will definitely tell you many times that they receive boxes of tokens that pop open and they're just loose and they fall out, and that's not good. So they can't transmute what they don't get. And when you're trading back and forth to other people, make sure, I would suggest you pack things well. Then you'll get a good reputation of someone who, that is trustworthy, and tokens will arrive safely and securely. So that is the basic way to transmute one token, the Tankard of Celebration. So next step is you mail that away. Okay. And then in the mail, dun dun dun, you'll get this. This is the actual token. The Tankard of Celebration. Hooah! Heal 10 HP when party initiative is a natural 20, but must say hoo-ha. So how fun is that? That's super cool and super fun. And there you go. So let's talk about, if there's any questions, please come up. Nothing too excessive. Let's see, David says nothing too excessive when it comes to mailing tokens. Yeah. Did that water turn to beer yet? You know what? This is not a Tankard of Celebration, so it did not. I mean, not yet. I also didn't roll the 20, so there's a lot of things that's got to happen here. Okay, so these little symbols at the bottom here. Let's see, let me pull this up here. So these are the tokens that we're actually going to make. Now, you'll see that there's different colors, which correspond to their rarity. And the rarity generally will correspond to the difficulty level to acquire them or to make them. And it also corresponds to their power level. So those are the different things here. Now, for the shirt of the Elder, which is +3 to will saves, the Tankard, which we've been talking about, at the bottom, you'll see a 3-star symbol. And also, it's a little difficult to see here, but actually maybe not. These are light blue, and you'll see that these guys are dark blue here, and obviously the orange are quite easy to stand out. So these are called enhanced. So it's transmuted 3-point enhanced. And that is your starter level, if you will, for that year's transmuted token. And then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and another 4. So those 3 tokens, the Greater Ring of Reflexes, +6 to reflex saves, and the Master Ale Drinker's Beard. Bead, sorry, beard. Master Ale Drinker's Bead. That's +3 to con, which is very cool, and +6 to reflex saves is just awesome. And then the Master Drinker's Gloves doubles the HP healed when you drink a non-exalted, and it says, it gives you the little 4 symbol there, healing potion, 1 per room. That's pretty cool. Once per room. It's not once per game, so that's pretty awesome. Not once per combat, once per room. But still, you could do that a number of times throughout the game. Now, moving up to the relics, you'll see 5 stars right here, here, and here, and here. So that means they're a higher level, and they're more difficult to acquire or to make, and of course, they're more powerful. Now, the orange tokens, those are legendaries. There's no symbol there, but the back color is pretty clear on what those are. And speaking of the back color, the Skull of Kavadar here is a darker green. We just call it green. And that is a 7-year token. It took 7 years to make this one, and I'll explain that in a second. And then finally, we have the Horror and the Reaver, those figurines. You'll notice that the symbols here on the Figurine of Power Reaver are actually 2020, but I wanted to include it here because it kind of corresponds to the Figurine of Power Horror, because that's 2021. And once per game for both of these, for the rare, which is the text color here, you can deal 6 points of dark rift damage to a target. It's just automatic. You just say it and it happens. And then for the Reaver, it's 10. Both pretty powerful tokens. So if anyone has any questions about that, let me know. Let's see. David says, male Master Drinker's Beard. I can see that still being a token. Yeah. Yeah, slip of the tongue there, but that sounds like it would be a cool token. All right. Now, let's see how to do this. There's so many cool tokens I want to show you, but actually, let me bring this back. Let's go through our list, and we'll just use this, this list here. So the Shirt of the Elder is the next one. That we'll talk about, and it is right here. So I've already pre-prepared that, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up the website again, and give me 1 second to get there, and let's see here. Okay, so now I won't go through the process of adding everything to a card and doing the pretend PayPal connection. We'll just go through the actual each token. Now, if we go to the token exchange, this is TEP, by the way, TEP, truedungeon.com/TEP, or like I said, there's a couple ways to get there. We want to, the next one on our list is going to be the, I think I went too far with the legendaries. That means I'm at the bottom. There we go. A Shirt of the Elder. Now, this recipe is 1 Shirt of the Wise, as you can see here, and it's in the color green. So that means it's an uncommon token. 1 Mystic Silk and 1 Philosopher's Stone, plus any one of these guys here. Okay, an Automaton Gear, an Automaton Oil, a Dark Rift Ingot, those are monster bits, Death Cloak Fabric, Ethereal Ooze, and Similich Dust. These are all monster bits, and those are tokens that you find in the treasure box at the end of an adventure, and they represent pieces and parts of monsters that you have defeated, and it's really cool part of the game. Okay, so let me pull up this guy here, and Shirt of the Elder. Now, so imagine going through the same process that we did before. You print out the label, you cut it up, here's my label. And on the list here, it said that it needed 1 Shirt of the Wise. So here's the 2021 uncommon token called Shirt of the Wise. And you'll notice, of course, the symbols means it's 2021. The green text means it's uncommon. And then right there, it's hard to read here, but that little line there, that is telling you that it's a transmuted token. It's truedungeon.com/transmuted, or I should say a transmutable token used in a recipe. And this token is +1 to will saves. And generally, when something like this is, let's say, +1 to will saves, the next higher token that you make will be better than that, as you can imagine. +2, or in this example, it's +3, shirt of the wise. So that's one thing that it needs. It also needs a mystic silk, which is right here. And you'll see here it says trade item. And something more recent, this says trade 1. I don't know if you can see that there. Yeah, so that's, I guess you would say the lower level item. And another trade 1 item is Philosopher's Stone. Now, if you're asking yourself, where do I get these? That's a whole different episode. We'll talk about that in a different show. But these are trade items that you take other tokens like this, common, uncommon, rare, etc. And a certain amount of these are representative or can be calculated to a certain number of points, and then those can turn into these other trade good items. But again, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, because it's a long and deep rabbit hole for this episode. So to make this, we need a shirt of the wise, 1 mystic silk, 1 philosopher's stone, and then any one of the monster bits that we mentioned. And for this particular one, I've chosen the automaton gear, and we know that this is a trophy, a monster trophy, because it tells us ingredient for making transmuted items. And also at the top here it says GF, which is what this can turn into, and 10 of these will turn into a GF, or a golden fleece. And you'll also see a little dot on the left side and a little dot on the right side. Can you see that? It might be tough, but there it is. Those dots mean that it comes from the treasure box. Okay, let me pull up the... Okay, so if any questions about that, let me know. So we do exactly what we did before. We put it into our little Ziploc bag. We get our Sharp of the Elder label. And I like to flip it over like that to get the air out. Make it nice and tight. And by getting the air out, you can, stuff more into your box. And then I set that aside for my small box, and then I keep going. Okay, so let's talk about these 2 Reavers now, or the 2 figurines, the Figurine of Power Reaver and the Figurine of Power Horror. Let me go to the page here. Okay, so no, I'm scrolling fast here, but wait, let me, this is actually page 2, so that's why that was that. So let me go to all, and I want to go to the figurines, because these are fun tokens, and I hope that everybody can make these. All right, so you'll notice this is a rare token, the little symbol on the left hand side of the DP, which means this turns into darkwood plank. The dot, which means it came from a treasure box. And to make this, we need 500 GP. And then it doesn't say any specific way to do the 500 GP, so it could be what they call as loose gold. 5 different completion tokens, any rarity from any of these virtual True Dungeon adventures, all the way from 1A all the way down to 5C, and 5B, and 5A, and which hasn't happened yet. 4C is next week. So again, 500 GP, and then 5 of any of these rarities. So let's flip back here, and I've prepared this to show you the different choices here. Now, the Charm of Fair Health and the Charm of Good Health is from 1A The sandals of sidestepping and boots of bolting is from 1B. And then the hat of minor retrieval, gloves of retrieval. This is 2A, and to continue, 2B, 3A, 3B, 4A, 4B, 4C. Now, you may have heard me, I just said that we haven't done this yet, but in the treasure mix, this has been there. It's been really, really low, but I was lucky enough to get them both. And speaking of the treasure mix, you'll notice 1 and 2 and 3A, those are all 2020 symbols. And then here from 3B is when the 2021 symbols started. So this is when the 2021 token started. And for all the 4s, those are all 2021 tokens. But for 5A and 5B, at least what's advertised currently on the website, these are 2021s. I'm sorry, 2020 tokens. My apologies there. So again, 1A and B 2020, 2A and B 2020, 3A 2020, 3B 2021, 4A, 4B, 4C 2021, but 5A and 5B are 2020s. If I'm not mistaken, some of these weren't in the mix. I think I might have gotten some of these in only the GT bags, so some people probably haven't even seen these yet. And then finally with the 5Cs, this hasn't been in the mix yet, so I just, cut those because that will be their future home. So those are all of the different choices that you can use to make the figurine of Power Horror. And also, so the Horror needs 5 of any rarity, and the Reaver, this is what I was mentioning earlier, this requires a 1000 GP gold bar, not 1K in loose change. So you've got to make that bar. So that means if you don't have that bar and you want to make your own, then you would have to come up here and do this. You'd have to add this to your cart and then add the gold like I showed you earlier that equaled 1000, mail that away, get that back, and then you can make the next token. It may seem cumbersome to do that, but that's the break. That's how it works. So it takes time and energy to make these. So back to the Reaver, it's 1000 GP and then 5 rare. So only the rare tokens, the red text, can be used for that. And you need to use one of the ghosts. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ghosts. The Shog is usually a little harder to find. That was the token that was I think it came out with the 8K orders, but it is in the mix. And there you go. So that's how to make those two. All right, so let me jump here. All right, so move this to the side. Okay, as you can see, I've got some labels and other stuff already mixing. If there are any questions, please let me know. Love your display of those tokens. So, yep. Thank you, David. Yeah, I use these trays that you're talking about here inside the cases, which you can kind of see right there where my finger is. That's one of the cases there. Through my bookshelf and behind all the different binders, that's where I have that. So let's go to the Horror. The Horror. Wait, actually, this is better.
The Horror. The figurine of horror. Maybe we'll do this. Okay, so for the figurine of Power Horror, we needed, remember, 5. Okay, so 5 of any rarity and 500 gold. So here's 450 plus 50 gold. These are both 2020 tokens, a blind idol and a silver mirror. The silver mirror, by the way, is can be used in the dungeon. The dungeon. That's where I live, by the way. And then here we have 3 uncommon completion tokens that were on our list, and then 2 rares, and that's a total of 5. You can mix this up for the figurine of power horror. Horror!
All right, that might have been a little silly, but you know, I entertain myself. All right, so that is the figurine of power horror. I don't have this one yet, and of course that makes me crazy that I don't have it yet. Or maybe I'm already crazy and then I'm more crazy because I don't have that one yet. So that's one of the ones you, as I said before, you go to your list, you add it to the cart, you print out your forms, you cut your labels, which I already did. So this is kind of like the fast forward version of that. And here is that. So add that to the stack. And now next is the Reaver. Okay. Okay, so again, this is kind of the end result here, but I just wanted to show you how that works. So let's see, here we go. All right, so the Reaver needs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rares. It has to be rare. 1, 2, and they need to be different too. Hopefully that was pretty clear. They need to be different. They can't be all the same. I think the goal there is, you know, they want to reward the participation of taking part in these different adventures. So that's another part of the game. You participate, and by participating, you know, good things happen. In addition to the 5 different rares, you need, it's clearly stated 1,000 GP. So earlier I mentioned that you would have to go to the website, send in 1,000 GP worth of gold, and then you would get this trade 2 level token, which is 1,000 GP gold bar. To me, I think it's super cool because, as I said, it reminds me of how games work. So I just imagine myself as a young apprentice, you know, role-playing, collecting the gold and then smelting it down to a gold bar. And now that I have a gold bar, I can take all these other magical items and then make another magical item. So to me, it's another fun part of the game, and if that's weird, then that's fine by me. And there were a handful of hitchhiking ghost choices. I actually had a bunch of extra bogs, so I chose a bog for this one. And the hitchhiking ghost, this one may equip an additional rare eye slot item for 1 game, redeem at the start. So if you're not familiar with that, it's a 2020 token. You turn this in, and then you get to wear another rare eye slot. I mean, that's pretty cool. There's a bunch of those, and they each have different slots. Okay, so this is the Reaver. Okay, we're going to do a couple more here, and I think by then you're going to get the gist. Now, I want to just talk about real quick a couple of these, and then I want to actually show you the inside tokens. Now, for the rest of these tokens here, the Greater Ring of Reflexes requires this many tokens here. So that's for the Greater Ring of Reflexes. I think by now you get the idea. And then the Master Ale Drinker's Beard, man. Okay, can we rename this token? This has got to be called the Beard token. The Master Ale Drinker's Bead is this many tokens, and then the Master Drinker's Gloves is this many tokens. So those are the rest of the enhanced and exalted ones there. But I want to get to some of the big ones here. Let me flip over. Let's see. Let's go to the Amulet of Might. All right. So now, when you're making your way up the ranks, if you will, of tokens, if you want to think of it as graduating or moving up a level of difficulty from hardcore to nightmare or epic, you might want to equip a few relics or possibly legendaries. And there are 3 relics, actually I'm sorry, 4 relics this year. The Amulet of Noble Might, which turns into the legendary for the fighter, the Mage Medallion, which turns into the legendary for the wizard, the Sacred Necklace, which turns into the legendary for the cleric, and then the Ion Stone Elf Stone Shard, which is 10 HP, which is super cool. So now to make the Amulet of Noble Might, you need a Medallion of the Sweetwoods, and you'll see that this is in purple, so this is an ultra rare. You need 5 Alchemist Ink, 5 Parchment, 1 Aragonite, 20 Darkwood Plank, 15 Steel, and so on and so on and so on. So you need all of these items here. Now, one thing that you'll notice is this says 5,000 GP, or I should say, I'm going to draw your attention to this, 5,000 GP in reserve bars. All right, so that means it's the 1,000, so 5 of those, or the single 5,000 GP. So now let me show you that here. Now I have this all bagged up in this one, and I, just write on it, and I have my label ready, the Amulet of Noble Might. But I want to show you one way that you could do this, which could make it a little more convenient for our friends at True Dungeon. So now, first it says that you need the Medallion of Sweetwoods. Now this bag here, I've got basically my singles, my 1s or 2s in it. Okay, so I'm going to put that aside. Okay, so here we go. Now, there's that. So, in order to make this, we need the Medallion of the Sweetwoods. Now, this is a 2021 ultra rare token. You can tell by the purple text, and of course the symbols. And we know that this can be transmuted into something else because we got that little URL there that says truedungeon.com/transmuted. So this gives you +4 to con and +3 to dex. Super cool token. So that means something, it usually means that this token turning into something else is probably going to deal with con and dex. And that's that. So we need 1 of those. We also need 5 Alchemist Ink. And I have that somewhere. Here we go. 5 Alchemist Ink. Okay. We need 5 Parchment, which I have here. We need 1 Aragonite, which I have here. 20 Plank, Darkwood Plank. And where's that hiding? That's right here. So here's what I was saying earlier about the small Ziploc bags. I mean, look how kind of convenient that is. So we could even put more. And something that I do is when I'm stacking these into the small boxes, I'll stack them like this. That's why I get the air out. And then I'll stack them inside a box, and then more can get on top. And you can really get a lot inside a small box. And then we need 15 Dwarven Steel, 2 Elven Bismuth, which we have here. Let's see, what else? 2 Enchanter's Munition. Those are the munition things, like arrows and stuff. 1 Golden Fleece, which is right here. This is Monster Bits. So 10 of these gets turned into a Golden Fleece. I always run out of Golden Fleece, by the way, and gold, because I'm always using it. 5 Minotaur Hide. Okay, those are common armor. And let's see, 25 Mystic Silk. Man, do I have a few thousand of these. So Mystic Silk packs really nicely. And then 25 Philosopher's Stone. And then 5,000 GP. I skipped the Oil of Enchantment. So yeah, 1 Oil of Enchantment is there too. Yeah, right there, Oil of Enchantment. And then 5,000 GP in reserve bars. So it could be 4 of the 1,000 or 1 of the 5,000. And that's how that works. Okay, so I put my singles here. And move that over. Like I said, I like to get the air out. And then this, oops. Okay, there we go. This all goes here. And this is going to be mailed to True Dungeon. And this will turn into a very cool token. The Amulet of Noble Might. Now I'll close that later. Which is this guy right here. So this is what that turns into. Sorry here. There we go. Well, come on, focus, baby. You can do it. There it is, the Amulet of Noble Might. And as I mentioned, you can see that it says +6 strength, +3 dex, +4 to con as well. Oh my, that's the good stuff. And let's see, and your melee shield AC adds to reflex saves. Oh, that's good stuff. So this is for the fighter and the drawer fighter. And let me pull up the chat here. Let's see. Let's see. I choose 4 of the 1,000. Okay, John. How many silk do you have, Trent? I easily have 2 trays of 1,000, like poker trays. So that's 2,000, and then more. So I don't know, 2,100, 2,200 Mystic Silk. But over 2,000, and same for Darkwood Plank. It's crazy, man. I had to actually buy special shelves. This is what is this? Is this called Gladiator? Yeah, the Gladiator shelves. These shelving units are for garages, and they can hold up to 1,000 pounds per shelf. So I have a bunch of these shelves all through my house. I'm sure my wife thinks I'm nuts, but she knew that when she married me. But yeah, the Amulet of Noble Might, man, that's a great token. So the other relics that you can make is besides the Amulet of Noble Might, the Mage Medallion, the Sacred Necklace, and the Ironstone Elfstone Shard. That's those guys. So when you mail roughly this bag of tokens, you'll get one of these. So I have these all stacked up. As you can see, I already have them. Now, once you have this bag and you mail it to True Dungeon, I don't know, this way is True Dungeon, by the way, and then you get this token back. Then let me show you the next step, and then I'm going to show you one more thing, and then that's going to be it. Let's see here. Okay, there we go. All right, so this is the legendary bag. So what I do is I have these large bags here, and I print out the recipe, and then I mark them off throughout the year as I collect the tokens. And as you can see here with these little circles, that means I had all these tokens. Just check. But I had to trade for these, or yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that is a lot of silk, John. So, and then once I got these, I actually traded who did I trade? Oh, I don't remember who I traded this one for. Oh, sorry. Whoever that was, thank you. I do lots and lots of trades, by the way. So the check mark means I got that token, and boy, was I happy. I actually tell my wife, so she told me to not talk about it on YouTube, so I'm sorry, honey. So I open the bag like this, and I get the token, and I very ceremoniously say, honey, look, I get the token, and I put it in the bag, and then I check it off, and then, that becomes part of that recipe. So then, if you're keeping track, you make the blue one, you got to make the gold, you got to make the golden fleece and everything else. Then you send that kind of medium bag, and then you send this large bag off to True Dungeon. Remember, True Dungeon is that way. And then you get back this token. Dun dun dun. Dun dun dun. It's out of focus. Come on, there it is. Okay. Viv's Amulet of Noble Might. Dun dun dun. So this is for the fighter and the drawer fighter. And let's see. This one says grants all AONM, so Amulet of Noble Might, the other token, powers plus 2 strength, gain double strike. Hold on one second. Sorry. Gain double strike, power, attack, and one-handed melee weapons crit on 19 to 20. Oh, that's good stuff. Yeah, so that's a really great token. And that's kind of the whole process of that. I want to do one final token, and then we'll call it a day. If anyone has any questions, feel free. The Skull of Cavadar. Okay, that's this guy right here, Skull of Cavadar. You'll notice that the X's at the bottom there represent a number that will be assigned to each Skull of Cavadar that we will acquire. Okay, so to make the Skull of Cavadar, it required one of each of the trade goods. Okay, that's pretty typical. So 1 Darkwood plank, 1 Mystic Silk, 1 Philosopher's Stone, and so on and so on and so on. So it required one of each of those, and also 1,000 GP. Okay, but most importantly, this has happened before with another token called the Rod of 7 Parts. So there was part 1, part 2, part 3, etc., and then that turned into a Rod of 7 Parts, which is, you know, a popular magical item in role-playing games. But with this one, you had to collect. So remember how I said earlier, you are rewarded, if you will, by participating in the virtual True Dungeon games. Here's a reward for someone who has played for 7 years or who has acquired those tokens. So here's how this works. So you need all of these tokens that I just mentioned, all the trade goods, plus 1,000 GP, and you needed the first tooth of Cavadar, which was in 2015, the second tooth of Cavadar, the third tooth, you guessed it, the fourth, and the fifth, and the sixth, and then finally this year, the seventh. This was the final component here. Sorry, come on, you can focus. There it is. So this is the seventh tooth of Cavadar. Each token, of course, has a different symbol on the side to represent the year, and the graphic itself is different for each token, and of course the name is different. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. One of each of these trade goods, which I think is kind of cool because, again, in my head, these are like magical abilities. David says the dentures of Cavadar. Yep. And then you, just like before, put that in, and like I said, I like to roll it over to get the air out, and put, make it nice and tight. And oh, did I skip the 1,000? Oh, oops, sorry about that, True Dungeon. Uh-oh, sorry. I think I would have been in trouble. My apologies. So Skull of Cavadar with the 1,000 GP. And there we go. So that is the show of Transmuting 2021 exchange tokens. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe. Tell your friends. If you didn't enjoy the show, please subscribe and don't tell your friends. But any final questions, feel free to go ahead and ask. As much as I would want an item as a second Eldritch piece, that's where my mind goes when I see the teeth. David, yeah, the dentures of Cavadar. It is a funny looking token. It's got like a skull and, just these little gold teeth, but it's a pretty cool token. So that is that. Again, thank you all very much for watching. I appreciate all the support from the community. Again, I'm Trent, and I'm a big fan of True Dungeon and collecting tokens. And if you're not familiar with the True Dungeon community, it is the best. Go to truedungeon.com and participate in the forum. There are a ton of people who are very, very helpful, who will answer any questions that you have. And it's going to be great when we can get back into the live dungeons, but the virtual True Dungeons are unbelievably amazing too. If you haven't had a chance to try that, you can go to td.events to buy tickets there. And if you're wondering, well, how do I play with other people? Go to the forums, truedungeon.com /forums. You'll find it when you get there. And just say hello, and people will be more than happy to help. And let's see, John says I'll have to check all your orders more extra carefully. I know, I keep the gold, John. Thank you all very much. Please be kind to one another. And one silly thing I like to say is it's really hard to frown when you're smiling. So hopefully things like this will help you smile a little more. And that's it. Thank you very much for watching. Bye for now.